Welcome to this mind-expanding experience. In this recording of a hypnosis session where I was in a deep relaxation state that allowed me to have access to very interesting experiences, you will be able to hear some points of views and perceptions of reality that allow to expand the mind. There will also be a moment when there is advice given on how to further expand the mind than considering the perspectives given in this session. And after that, advice was given to several individuals and what could be beneficial to any other person has been included in this heavily edited session, where only what could be interesting and beneficial to the widest amount of people has been included. So I hope you enjoy listening to this session that was recorded after a group of us QHHT practitioners and friends met up and had some beautiful energy work experiences and healing sessions, and decided to go under using Dolores Cannon's technique so as to have an experience that would benefit the whole group, as well as ask questions to the subconscious for us to benefit from the wisdom that can be accessed in these deep hypnosis states. Enjoy this session on mind expansion.
It's more of a sensing, knowing of this wide expanse of shimmering lights, pretty colors that are like stardust, let's say.
Can you explain what you were doing?
It feels like I'm breathing in colors, but not breathing in, that's an image. And then they mix and swirl, and then when I breathe them out, expel them out, they've got a different, there's a creation thing to it. There's a sense of creating beauty, of just, but there's a very joyful, playful sense of creation, like breathing in that's colorful stardust and then breathing out, just whoosh, and it's beautiful, and it creates patterns and energies.
And do you have a sense of other vibrations, entities doing the same as you? Or do you feel...
That gave me a sense of loads of other similar things happening in a very expansive way, in lots of different... expanded the vision from where the unit that was creating is actually linked to lots of different ones, almost in a neuronal kind of way, and we're all linked somehow. It's just that I was focusing on that one unit, but we're all linked and there are lots of us doing the same thing.
Okay.
But that's a much bigger point of view, like a massive zooming out.
The others that you see, everybody's doing the same thing, or is there any difference?
We're all creating, but we're all doing it differently. It's like lots of different composers creating different symphonies. And
do you have any understanding of what you are creating?
It's like art or beauty, and it's playing with what there is, the little tiny little. It's not a concept that I don't think there's a word for. Sparks of stardust, sparks, whatever, and shaping them and giving them like beauty, and it feels like it's the start of galaxies. Like that's what sparks off.
Okay.
Like every single one of us who are all linked together are sparking off different galaxies.
Is every single one for one particular galaxy, or is it everybody working collectively on one galaxy?
No, it's like every single one is working on their own galaxy kind of thing. Because then there's a different, it's like we're all part of the same, that's a bit difficult to explain. Each unit, let's call it, has a bit of a different inspiration and can create something a bit unique in a way, even though it's like different fingers of the same hand playing on different piano notes and creating different notes. It's the same overarching whole, but with different parts being able to spark off different galaxies.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure even galaxy is completely correct. Different
Energies? Is it like an energy?
There is the notion of that will spark off matter. It's like the quintessential creation, but it could be a galaxy or it could be a different. That's just a very human notion, and it's limited. It's like there's a different understanding of how to divide the universe, the existing all comprehend, and so galaxies is the closest word that works in this language.
Okay, so can you follow one of those parts of creation to see where it goes?
I've already seen that it creates something that looks a bit like a galaxy and it's pretty. And it's lots of things coalescing and coming together, and they're dancing together, but there's this energy. It's like a dance. It's like blowing into those particles, whatever they are, essences of like the stem cells of something.
So that like the beginning of creation,
Yeah.
and it's all the energies coming together to create something.
Matter, yeah. And lots of different galaxies, but it's also, it feels like it's not just different galaxies in space, it's also different dimensions as well. So it's so multitudinous.
Okay.
It's beyond the notions that we usually have of being able to categorize it and organize it with the human mind. And so it's not obvious to translate it into words.
And do you have any understanding of what it is that you are creating? And
Mine is a galaxy, but others are not necessarily galaxies. My neighbors, the other parts of the whole that I belong to, mine is a galaxy, definitely. And it is going towards matter, and there are rocks, and there's a swirl, and it's dancing and it's beautiful. And I can zoom into the detail and I can zoom out to perceive the whole of us.
so if you zoom in to see the detail, and you can see rocks,
Yeah.
Are they stable? Are they moving?
They're moving, they're dancing in space.
Okay. And what will happen to them?
There's coalescing happening, but there's also dancing happening, and there's this whole notion of, like, it's very fluid, very motiony, and like it's a giant dance at all the levels. And we're stuck on one level, but it's showing us that there's all the levels. I can sense at the same time that it is constantly, fluidly being a symphony of movement and vibration and elements dancing together. And it's gorgeously beautiful to see all these energies moving and dancing. And that is true on the tiniest level, and it's true on the macroest level. And I'm going to have to invite you to expand your notions of micro and macro to follow what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, I know because this is coming in through a human body, that the perspective of humans is like stuck to seeing it congealed in one particular, like, it looks static, but it's not. The human perspective is extremely limited because it sees it as stuck, but it's not. It's constantly moving and being gorgeous with its movement and its dance. It's extremely fluid, and it's the invitation to understand that there is fluidity and there is movement, and there is beauty in the movement and the fluidity.
When you're watching this beauty and you're seeing this creation, and everything is matter and rock and colour, and it's all swirling.
But everything isn't matter. That's one perspective. Everything is just movement and vibration and dance.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it, is how it moves and dances. But then from another perspective, you could see it as matter. But it's all dancing. And it's fun and beautiful and flowy. And there's the notion that the consciousness that is infusing it with the art that is in it, that I'm being connected to, and from whose point of view I am being presented this experience, is enjoying massively this beauty of that creation and going, this is cool. I get to play and to just...
Okay, I want you to move forward to an important day.
There's a plant sprouting, and that's very, very beautiful. That from that came a plant. It's just a lot of emotion in seeing that plant happen. There's life that came, and it's beautiful. It's a little sprout coming out. It's like witnessing your baby being born.
Can you describe the plant?
It's just a little stem with a few leaves, and it's like, look, I made that. It's my baby. It's like I played with the creation, and it made that beautiful little baby. It's so cute.
And can you see any others? Is it just...
That's just the first one.
The first one. And
there's lots of love for it because it's so perfect. It's like hyper focusing on that tiny little sprout. It's so soft and tender and beautiful and cute, and just, it's so pretty. And because it's like my baby.
Do you know what that little baby will grow into?
Like very thin tendrils with a very green, teeny leaf. Like, it's super simple. It's funny because when I saw it at the beginning, it felt like it was a huge accomplishment, and so it felt big, but it's actually really, really tiny, 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 tiny. Like, it's probably not even visible to the human eye, you know what I mean? Like, it's probably teeny, teeny, but it was just like, whoa, my baby.
And so,
like, you could see it under a microscope, you know, but it's very cute.
And so, can you see yourself?
Oh, I'm still that.
You're still the energy?
Yeah. But now what comes to mind is, like, let's say it's like a gardener, you know?
Okay.
Of the galaxy.
Yeah.
And so I just infused it with energy and dance and beauty and harmony and direction, and it's like a glass blower going, and then we got that tiny little plant.
Oh, that's beautiful. So will you do that again, or will you just...
I'm letting it happen. It's just, I blew into it and that it created that. It's like, it's not like I'm going to do another plant. It's going to happen. It's going to keep happening from the impetus that I gave it. And I can very gently, but it has to be very gently. I can very gently send... I can't even blow on it because that would be way too powerful and destructive. But I can very gently send a very, 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 very gentle tendril of impetus, like of a loving... I can send a very gentle tendril of love towards one direction to sort of direct. But it's so flimsy tiny as compared to what comes from me that I can't send too much at it. So I have to let it be. I have to let it...
Let it grow.
Yeah.
Let it develop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can watch over it, and I can definitely swat any danger away, because that I could just, but there's my little creation, which is a little for me, but it's inconceivably big for you guys. My little creation is safe from anything, because that I can just protect, right?
Okay.
But it's like, if I try to interfere, it's as though a human coming with their fingers trying to touch something that's microscopic. The finger would just work, right?
Okay.
So I can only send tiny little intentions and gentle nudges. But then it's got to develop, it's got to grow, it's got to find its own way in a way. And I'm just watching it, like hovering over it like a proud mama.
And what dangers could possibly come that might harm it?
Oh, it's just the energy of the other ones, the other units, that I'm part of.
Okay.
Because everything is in contact with everything. The image I'm getting is like, a beehive? How it has lots of little hexagonal things. It's like they're all interlinked. And if this is my galaxy, or my little creation baby thing, and there's my neighbor here, if he tries to push into mine, I'll just go, nope, my territory, keep my baby creation safe. And so I can protect, but it's not like they're trying to destroy or anything, it's just in case there's overflow or whatnot,
Because it's fragile.
It's not fragile.
Okay.
It needs its balance. If mine goes haywire, then it can everything else around. That's why we can't fuck up.
Okay.
Because there's only so much that if the energy that comes from one of the units is too strong, that can have an impact on all the others.
And so do you communicate with the others to make sure everyone harmonises their energy?
Communication is not the right notion. My fingers don't communicate together. I can't have this one talking to this one. I can sense the neighbor, but I can't have a conversation. We're part of the same. It's a whole.
So you're like a collaboration of working
Yeah, it's
together.
interesting because there is a working. I definitely a creation that's hovering over my little creation spawned thing can definitely have the notion that I am tending for my garden and protecting it and hovering over it and sending it loving energy basically. And I know that everyone around me is doing the same thing, but it's like I'm a shard of, I can direct consciousness in all the different parts. And so at the present time, I'm focused on the experience of the piece of consciousness that is being projected into that unit that created that galaxy.
Okay.
But if I step back into the consciousness, it can be conscious and aware of everything and anything. So I could just like come back and, well, it's not even come back, I could go anywhere. I can be aware of everything and anything at the same time because I am everything and anything at the same time. It depends on where I place my consciousness.
Okay. So you said that the universal is the wrong word.
Universe is a crap word, it's so limited. It's like, you're going, hey, we are the nail. That's the universe, yeah.
So what would be a correct word to use to replace that?
It's an interesting question. I think it would be like multi-spawn. Multi-spawn is better. That's not the best word in the world, but multi-spawn is better.
Multi-spawn or
yeah, like because
okay.
there's lots of things being spawned. Spawn. Like
okay.
SPAWN. You know.
Yeah.
A multitude of things being spawned all over the place, but it's a matter of scale.
Okay.
It's so teeny tiny. The universe is so tiny. The human universe is so tiny.
And can you see the human universe?
I have a sense that the galaxy that I was creating is the one where Earth is.
And so can you zoom into that a bit?
That's where the plant is.
That's where the plant
Yeah.
is. So can you see anything else around the plant?
Now I also get the sense that there are many different versions of it and I'm hovering over all of them.
Okay.
There's a sense that, like, I'm also seeing all the different possible directions, and because I see them and hover over them and observe them, they exist. That's why it's multi-spawn. But it's multi-spawning in so many directions and dimensions at the same time that it's inconceivable to the human mind. It'd be a stretch for the human mind to comprehend. And I'm getting, this will be fun because right now I have access to it and I don't know if it'll make sense when I come back, when Virginia comes back. And I have the double awareness of speaking through this body and having that awareness at the same time. And I feel it is expanding the possibility of comprehension of the human mind that we're doing this. That is one of the purposes of doing this, is expanding the human mind. It's too limited.
So it's really valuable work.
It goes so much further beyond just like healing.
And can you explain how it's expanding souls?
Not souls, the human mind.
The human mind.
It gives it the ability to open and expand and just get out of its tiny little cube of a boxed up, and that is a next step. It's like if a creature is unaware that as it thrashes around, it kills the life that is around it. If it becomes aware of the life that is around it, maybe it'll stop thrashing around and destroying it so badly.
Can you explain how humans can expand their mind?
Like this. It's just accessing that openness, that limitlessness, that scale. It's a different scale. And that exercise of having access to that is expanding the human mind. And so every time that there is an allowing of letting a different, I don't have a word for this.
Experience?
I don't think there's a word for this. To mesh the human mind with another way of perceiving. Oh, okay. So, this is why, okay. There's too much coming in, wait. You can expand it by opening your minds to other frequencies that have already opened their minds, and those minds will show you how to think differently without thinking. Thinking is too limited and keeps you boxed up. And so there are several ways of doing this. Doing these types of sessions allows to plug into those vibrations of expansion that show you how to perceive without thinking. And also we gave you minds into human bodies to show the way and plant. This is ETs coming down, star seeds, whatever word you want to call it, is expanded minds coming down, showing humans how to get out of thinking. Thinking is linear, boxed up, limited, that is to be broken through.
And how best can humans break through that?
By allowing an opening and accepting that it is limited, and allowing other ways of perceiving to come through. And it comes from the opening of the heart. Because it's only if you open your heart to the other that you can expand your mind. It comes from the heart. If you close your heart, you cannot open the mind. That is the first step. So if you're opening your heart to an animal, you can then start being in sync with that animal and perceive the world the way the animal perceives it. And that could be one first step towards expanding your minds to other ways of perceiving and opening than the limited thinking of the human mind, which is too boxed in. It's like a tiny little box and you want to go. This is an important day now, this moment.
Okay.
It is important, just like every single moment is important, because every single moment carries the seed of possibility.
So can you tell me more about this moment?
You are being expanded.
Expanded in what way?
By opening your minds to the energies that are coming through right now and the way of perceiving everything that is being presented to you at the moment.
Is there anything that we should be taking notice of that's really important?
Take notice of limitlessness. Open your mind, open your brains, imagine that you're not boxed up in your heads. Imagine that everything is accessible to you and that there is no limitation. Break free of your boxes in your minds. Allow those boxes to fall.
So is
without
this
fear. There is no fear to be had. The fear is coming from the part of the human that is too attached to its box. It needs to understand that understanding is overrated and let go of the human need for understanding. That is limiting. Accept to be bathed in a sea of not understanding that will open further. And it can be scary. We understand it is scary to be in a bath of new possibilities. But you are limiting by staying stuck to that fear. There is an invitation to open like a flower and accept to be bathed in the discomfort of not knowing and not understanding, and that is okay. If you accept, it will be fine. You are refusing. It is the refusing. You want to accept and open. We understand it is not easy. There is sorrow coming through for your distress. It is misplaced. Why would you want to be limited in the box? Because it is by opening their boxes that you will be able to link to them. Open box to open box. Why would you want to interact closed box to closed box? So, accept the box and allow the box to dissolve. It doesn't have to be painful. It is not a hard process. It is just a shattering of the boxes around your mind that can just simply dissolve if you allow the limitlessness and the expanded perception that you know and you feel and you perceive and you have it in you. Allow it to be what guides you. More gentle than holding on to those boxes. Those boxes are hurting. That's what's painful, is trying to keep them in place, is going against your nature. And so, allow you to be you. Allow you to be you. The rejection is the seed of destruction. Rejection is the seed of destruction. Rejection is the seed of destruction. What do you choose? The invitation is the softening within of that part. The suffering. What do you need to know about the suffering? Do you need to understand that the suffering is self-created? Will you be willing to connect? Will you be willing to let go of your limitations? Will you be willing to completely open yourself to receiving everything that has been tried to be sent to you. The invitation today is to understand that it is the resistance that is causing the discomfort. And as you allow, the discomfort will fade. We understand that it is not an easy proposition, because you have held on to these constructs that you created to be able to survive as a human until people around you were ready to receive the mind expansion. They are readier to receive the mind expansion. You will not be rejected the way you fear. You will not be attacked the way you fear. There has been a shift. They are readier for you. There is a very soothing energy being sent your way for you to receive soothing gentleness on all those wounds that this experience has afforded you, for you to soothe and allow to bloom. It's not opening up, it's how can she relax into herself. It's a refocusing within. Instead of focusing on the outside representations of the projected sense of human self, refocus within and go from there. Stop banging at the walls that you created on the outside. Refocus inside. Breathe from there and re-expand from there. It's a different, very different energy. There is the lack of awareness of the spread of her being and the need to accept, to be a part of something so big. It's like she's only focusing on the stem of the flower and not seeing the flower, and how beautiful it is, and how big of a reach it has, and how big of an impact it has through its beauty and color and smell and food and nectar that feeds the eyes and the belly and the nose and of so many creatures. And that, as it is part of a field of flowers, this is all an image of course, allows for much beauty. And it is as though she considered herself to be just a stem and didn't realize how much of an expanded being she is. So it is to invite her to remember, because part of her knows that she is an expanded being, and to remember the rest of the flower, so to speak. It's in the rising of the heart vibration, so that it can not only spread outward from her, but also up inside through, as if it had to grow into the stem. This is a heart, and she goes to everyone around her and forgets that she can send it up. That's the top of the head, and that has a way bigger impact, because if she vibrates from the stem, that's already beautiful, but if she vibrates from the flower, then that's amazing. And so it's allowing that love vibration to go up, up, up through the chakras, and then the flower is already there, she's just not aware of it, so she is receiving from it. It is all an image, of course, to invite visualization. It's like an invitation to a meditation to understand the expansion. What we need to, she can start thinking of herself as much bigger than her limited perception of herself. And that experience of being privy to the creation of her galaxy, and understanding that she is also that unit, and she is also the collective units that create the galaxies, and is going to help her understand the true nature of her being, much more expanded than just one little human person. It's a physical transformation, like the box that needs to be opened is the physical one. There is an open acceptance and invitation and curiosity that is already in place, and the invitation is for it to come down into the body and to allow the body to not be perceived as a limited box. Words are difficult. Your body is not separate from what is around you. Your body is not separate from what is around you. It's not just your mind that can be open, it's also your body. It's like there's constant energy flow also through the body, not just through the mind. At the top, the open-mindedness. There's permeation. Your body is part of the all. And there's the understanding of that is your body. It's not closed and separate from everything else. It's part of everything else. And so you can be open there, but you can also be open there. And you can create bonds here and you can create bonds there. And allow the flow of mingling with what is around you. Perceive that in the depth of you to the cellular level. The open-mindedness that will allow you to open your body is the invitation is, you might find your own way, but the invitation is to visualize. Don't perceive your unit of a body as separate from everything around you, but as flowing within everything around you, like you are one molecule of water within the water. You are the air, you are the table, you are. That body should not be a separation between you and other things, right? There's no separation. And that is something to allow to trickle down to the cellular level. But you can do this consciously. You can send the information down consciously, and then it'll get it. Whatever you find most helpful to go in the direction of opening, it's your intention that counts. Opening your borders and allowing them to be a fluid. Visualize you're porous. You're not in plexiglass. It's the invitation to relax in a way. There's a calling for bringing the, I don't know how to call it. It's not a fight energy, but it's there's too much tension. Keeping her focus upright, and the invitation is to relax, to let the tension go down, and that'll allow her to relax into her energy and allow that energy to expand. There is no need to survive anymore. The survival is assured. It is a releasing and letting go of the survival tension. She struggled and fought to stay upright, meaning alive, in this dimension as a human, and she is invited to let go of the struggle. There is no need for it anymore. She can let go of that and just relax into being as a more appeased version. She has been moving in the right direction and aiming for, not fully comprehending the importance of it. When she finishes that journey of relaxing into being, which doesn't look like massive achievements from the human perspective, she will be able to have the expansion and the massive impact that her energy can have only if it is appeased and relaxed and not tense. It matters that she relaxes, it matters that she takes time to soften, it matters that she lets go of previous struggles. It matters not just for her but for the whole. And when she reaches that state of relaxation expansion, that will magnify the impact that she has on all the beings around her. And so it does matter, and she can chill and put less pressure on herself.
We have some other questions here about us as a group that come together. So we'd like to what we did at St Michael Chapel yesterday.
The group is like a tornado, and the putting together of the energies with the allowing of the flow of energy, with the authorization that you have given yourselves by being together, and each and every one of you thinking that it was because of the others that you were able to do what you did, is what magnified each of y'all's energy and created that spiral. And so that spiral of energy magnification of being together allows for the rising of not only every individual in the group, but also the collective energy of that space and time dimension on which you're focused when you're focused on it. That, which you perceive as pillar of light, is what happens when there is the agreement to follow others that allows you to unleash, free, it's allowing your own energy is like a mechanism. It is a mechanism for you to fully be within your vibration and energy. And as you do that everybody's power. You do that whenever you do something together where you allow everybody to be responsible for everybody's power. What happened at the top of the hill was an even bigger allowing of that, because there was conscious intention placed on that. And that tornado of energy is like a connection of lots of dimensions together, like a perpendicularity between the dimensions. It's dimension, your perceived pillar of light. All the dimensions together.
And is there a reason why we need to bring all the dimensions together?
Lack of separation leads to abundant limitlessness, abundant opening.
So can you tell us what happened at the menhir?
There's a spreading of that. It's the spreading.
So is it still the same tornado effect, but in a different area?
No, it's the spreading. You don't understand that physical location has no purpose whatsoever. It's the spreading. You created that. It's not a flattening, by the way. It's a dis-separation, a unification. It's already one, but it means that instead of being all jogged differently, was brought together in a way, unified by that pillar that you created, that perpendicularity that you created with. Mm-hmm. And this then was with your intent when you moved to the rock, which you could have done in the same place. There is no should, there's no have to, there's no imposition.
So is this the intention of 1 week?
Expansion of mind. And that is the overarching importance of your work. The earth elevation, from the human perspective, is an expansion of mind. That is all it is. And so if you work on expanding your minds and allowing through the expansion of your mind other minds to expand, you are elevating the earth, which doesn't need you to elevate, you know what I mean? And that's so your perception, your filter. You're not elevating the earth.
If there's anything about anyone's healing yesterday it's relevant, that we should know about, that anyone received.
There's a call for understanding and accepting of each person's ability. Know you can and you will, even more. Allow yourselves to know. Not believe, not think, know. Know to the depth of your being that, yes, you allow healing, and then you will allow healing.
Okay.
It is an allowing again. It's not like you're doing anything. You're allowing.
Okay.
But you are allowing. And so, from the human limited perspective, you're doing